forgotten to pay the power bill. I just wanted you to see out that window. Oh, it's gone now. Yes, out that window out there. Look, this is my view now for my modelling room, my hobby room in the new house. How about that? Yes, I know a few of you have been asking, what's the new home like? Well, it's very bright out there, as you can see. But we've got this lovely place now, and it's actually on a working farm. There's horses and cattle here and everything. And Farmer Bob lives here, and he runs around in his ute. He's probably going to come past in a sec. But it's very nice. It's different to our other place, the cottage. Hopefully less snakes here. Anyway, enough of that. What are we here for? We're here for the little French FT, this little fella, the 17, right? Now, I've got quite a lot done on this. So let's get you up to speed, because last time in the video I just showed you how I'd got with that suspension. That was really good. It seemed incredibly complicated, but you could work your way through it bit by bit, and it'd come up a treat. So after that, the next thing I did was I had to tackle the turret, and quite frankly that was the last thing I needed to do, because I'd already jumped forward in the instructions and I had done the track links, I've done a few of the doors on the back of it and a few other things. So the turret was really all I needed to do before I start painting. Now, it came in a lot of bits, as you can see here. There were a lot of parts to this turret, and it took a while to sort of get them all ready and make sure that they were correct, and then try and fiddle the whole thing together. Now, it seemed like it was going to be a bit of a fiddly thing, all those trapezoidal shapes, trying to fit around an octagon. There you go, there's a few words. You can look them up. Yeah, I did geometry. Where was I? Trying to be clever as usual. Now, all those funny little shape pieces, well, I just used my slow setting Revell contacted glue, and I used that to cement them to the bottom of the octagon and to the top piece of the turret. And then that allowed me to feather them all into place, and I used my Tamiya thin to do all the little joints, one at a time, pressing them together, working my way around, and eventually it all kind of settled into shape. So it's a bit fiddly, but that method worked for me. So it might work for you. Just don't try and Tamiya thin the whole base in and then hope that the top's going to fold, because I learnt my lesson when I was doing the hull of how things didn't really join from bottom to top. You had to leave fiddling room, and you needed to do it all at once. So I did that this time, and it paid off, and the turret came out really good. And I've got a coat of primer on it, so it's all ready to go. And I've done a dry fit. I always like to do a dry fit, even though that's just primed. She's dry fit. So there's the Steinerese, love that stuff. That's gone on beautifully. It really has. Although I started spraying, it was quite a hot day, because we had sort of very weird winter. We had some really hot days this winter. Ended up being a really hot, dry day, started spraying Steinerese, and it all dried up the bloody airbrush, which I hadn't cleaned after I'd moved, and it was old, and I hadn't tightened up the air hose properly, and I was losing pressure, so a lot of Harry Houdini cock-ups. So I went, oh no, I'm going to leave this, I've made a mess of it. But then I came back that afternoon, and with everything screwed and connected and cleaned and put back together, I ran the Steinerese another coat, and this stuff is beautiful. It all flattened down, blended in. You can't tell. Looks great. Anyhow, purpose of this video is doing the camo. Now, I looked and I looked and I looked, and there are lots and lots of FT-17 camo schemes out there. And, you know, you can paint them plain colours. They can be that beigey colour and grey colours, and, you know, there's sort of greeny colours. There's all of that, but that's boring. Boring. No, we like to do more exciting things on my channel. And then everyone else paints some three-tone camo, you know, the ochre colour, the green and the brown. Well, yeah, that's kind of correct for later on in the war, and especially for the French FT-17s. But I did some research, and the Polish and the Belgians, they ran with the old French grey-blue, such as this one here, which is at the Belgian Museum. So I've got the photos. Got the photos to prove it. If you've got the photos, then you're all right. No rivet counter can get you. Not that I give a shit, but I just wanted to know, was this a colour scheme that actually worked? And it is. So I'm going to paint mine as per the Belgian FT-17, the one that's actually in the museum. And it's a French blue-grey, the green, and the ochre colour, which I've already got in the Steinerese. By the time I run a filter on that and everything, it'll look fine. So, with the aid of a collage of photos here, I can actually now hand mark up my camo scheme on the vehicle. Now, I have been clever here, well, you know, clever for me, because this is only a dry fit, right? And because I haven't glued things together, can I do this on camera without totally buggering it? this, oh, we may have to do an edit. No, we got it off. I thought I was going to be, I can pull that off because I haven't cemented it on, right? And then it's going to make it a lot easier for me to get the camo in and paint. And then also, my track links here, they're again only just clicked in because these are clickable track links. Yes, I showed you that in one of the early videos. Go back and watch that. So, clickety-boo, right? It was off camera, I know, but believe me, they click apart. They're all rolly, foldy, sort of, you know. These are so much fun. They are great. Workable, clickable track links. So with that off, I can get to this whole assembly again, the one we worked on last time, and I'll be able to paint both sides of those wheels. Don't think there's much camo on the inside, but I did notice that camo does show on both sides of that big wheel because it kind of sticks out. You probably can't see in these photos. Because it sticks out so far in front of the tank and there's no guards on this, you do see both sides of the wheel. So we will camo both sides of the wheel. And we'll try and match that Belgium museum tank as much as possible. So this will be fun. I've got a good reference there. So waffled on enough, as usual. I'll start penciling in the lines for the camo and then we'll get the colours on. Alright, referencing off my photo, which is probably copyright, so we won't go too close to that. I'll have a look and see what needs to be done. Now, the back here, well, it starts with a bit of green, and it's pretty easy, so there's just like a little bit there. And then it goes to the V, and the grey comes in, and it's pretty well follows the line of that, so that's easy. And then that there's a little bump there, there's a little bump. So that will go from there to there. Yep, so far so good. And there's a lumpy bit and that thing there, and it does a sort of a U-shaped thing through there. There we go, it does that. And then it goes all the way along until here, and it sort of comes over there somewhere. And then again it comes around and scoops back to the wheel. And just in front of that plate, that's the beauty of having these photos, so I can really, it's not just a side-on view, it's slightly at an angle so I can really see what's going on. So that goes in there and it goes around the first rivet and then down from there. And then there's a little bit here at the tip which comes just off this tensioner here, and then it basically sort of just comes out an angle through there. So as easy as that, I've pretty well got that marked out. I'll pull the wheels off to do them, I'll do them later. So it's really not that hard, and I'm just using a very soft pencil here, it's a 5B, okay, which I actually use for doing shading on aircraft. You can just pop it down your panel lines and then smudge it with your finger or a Q-tip. So I'll now do this, and I won't waffle, we'll do that one nice and quickly, and then I'll get the whole thing marked up both sides, we can start painting. Well, it took a little while to get all those lines in there. I could sort of see how it all went here, and then when I put the sides on, and I put these back on, I managed to match up the lines there, and you know, it was all fairly obvious there. I had a good front view, so I was able to get that entire front section in there, and I could sort of piece together the turret from the various angles. The hardest part was when I came to the back here, because I couldn't really see that. I could see this side, and I could see this side from the drawings, and then I had to sort of figure out and count the colours so I could join up these bands, because as I found, one of them would obviously just have to truncate, stop, because it didn't really go anywhere. On this side they didn't match up the same order. So I managed to juice all that, and the beauty of this method is using the using the pencil, is if I make a mistake, it's fairly easy to erase it, especially if it's a soft pencil. So I'm not scoring into the primer. This is a really soft pencil that I can just make that mark with, and it very easily rubs off. So if I find, oh dear, you know, I've made a mistake here, I can just rub that off, and it's gone. Maybe not on camera. It is, believe me. There you go, it's gone. And then I use my good old toothbrush to get rid of the shards, and that part's gone. And then I'd come back later and go, oh, that was slightly out, you know. and it's penciled in. But there you are, and everything's matched up. It's all good. These wheels just seem to radiate out in splashes, so I'll just do that. I'll just kind of splash them out, basically 1, 2, 3 other colours. That's all they seem to do. It's a bit hard to tell from the photos, and there's no real indication anywhere else. Same with the back here, they seem to just split into two different sort of camo colours. Didn't have anything to go on at all for the back here, so I've kind of just made up what I think is going to work, and that'll do for me. That will work. Alright, so with all that marked, I can now disassemble again. This is the beauty of having things dry fitted, is I don't know how you would manage to get this camo painted with those side pieces on and the turret on. So with everything now disassembled, it's fairly easy for me to go and paint this now. The French blue-grey that I need for this camo scheme is not a colour that I've actually got in my paint box, not in my paints. But I found using this app, Shade Pick iModel Kit, I could mix colours that I already had. The blue that I'd painted the Fokker DR1, green that I'd previously painted the camo scheme on the Skoda, and then a little bit of black and white, and the app actually calculates out exactly the quantities you need. And there you go, bingo bongo, you've got the colour that you need. So I'll mix that up and let's get started painting the grey on this camo scheme. I've got on and I've already painted the grey in the sections that I needed. And that was just 2 coats, very thin coats of the life colour mix that I'd made up, and then a little bit of touching up if I felt it needed it. But really, that stuff goes on beautifully smooth. So the colours I'd used there, here's a pick, and these are the life colour. I'd mixed those together and then used only a little bit of their proprietary thinner, which I think is basically just water and alcohol. Don't think it's anything fancy. And I managed to hand paint and get that result. And, you know, all the detail's still there. Smooth as anything. There's really hard, you'd be hard pressed to find any brush strokes. That stuff is lovely. It really is a nice acrylic to hand paint with. Alright, now I've already pressed on and I've made up my green, which I used basically that same green from the Skoda, but half and half with an olive green that I had to give me pretty well the green that I needed for this camo pattern. So that's balanced those 3 colours out nicely. Now that's 2 coats on there already of the green, but it's fairly thin actually. I think I put a lot more thinner in this time because it actually started panel line streaking down little edges, but that's alright. I'm going to put wash on this anyway, so I'll need some panel lines. The turret I've only put 1 coat on, so I thought I'd show you now just how easy it is, because that's only been 5 minutes and that life colour has already dried. It's already touch dry. So basically this little turret, I can go straight over with that stuff, put my second coat on, and unlike Tamiya paint, which I find when you go over the second coat it rips the first one off underneath, at least it does in my country with my climate. I've never had much luck hand painting with Tamiya. It's I've tried retarders. Retarders are good, and again you go for your second coat and the retarder melts the layer underneath, so I never ever can figure out how to get 2 hand coats of Tamiya on. But this life colour, it's so forgiving. It really is. It allows me to very easily get another coat on, and I don't have to worry about the brush strokes because it basically levels out and it'll come on. In fact, this one's just about dry already, at least at the back section there. So I can go straight on, as soon as that's touch dry, which it is, pretty well can go straight on and put another light coat. And it's all about light coats. Anyone will tell you when you're painting any kind of hand painting is don't go thick. And the thing is, I don't have to go right up to the edge of my camo pattern with the second and third coat, because basically that area usually ends up fairly dark. So there you go. That's probably all that's going to need. That's sort of 2.5 coats really. So I'll press on. I'll get this all painted up, and then we'll see how this camo scheme comes out in the end. And here it is, camouflage all hand painted. 6 hours later. I probably could have done it a bit faster, but I hadn't been feeling very well. But that's only 2 hours each evening over 3 evenings. You probably could have done it in a day, maybe 4 or 5 hours. because it dries pretty fast, this life colour, if you were using life colour as I was. But the result I'm really happy with. That's a very unusual colour scheme. It's a little bit bright and gaudy at the moment, I know, but that's prior to running a wash and weathering, adding a bit of dust and everything. That'll tone it all down and make it look a lot more realistic. But for now, I'm very pleased with my hand brush of a WWI French camo scheme. And I hope you enjoyed the video to see how I managed to accomplish that. And maybe there was something in there that helps you out, maybe some tips and tricks. Or maybe you've got a better way, I don't know, you can let me know. But anyhow, that's the end of this episode of the FT-17. That's it. Dry fitted. Next time I'm going to look at those track links and get some weathering and washing on them, and the whole thing's going to get a weathering and wash. And also at the back, see this little plate here at the back. They're on both sides. There's one on that side and there's one on this side, and that is where the playing card insignia goes. So I'm going to get a friend of mine to print out a really high def copy of a graphic that I'll do of the Ace of Clubs, well actually just the club symbol really, and get that on there. So this should then really start to pop. Because I don't think there's much more in decals apart from that. That's about the only insignia on it. So there you go. Next time we'll start making this come alive with a bit of washing and weathering, mud, grime, all that good stuff. Okay. Oh dear, dear, dear. It's been a long 6 hours. But I am happy. Okay, enough waffling. It's goodbye from Australia, and it's hooroo from Harry Houdini.